It's the Sports Hour here on the Arvo Flow, and it's time to take a look at the weird and wonderful world of sports with our North American sports expert, Eddie Dadds from scplaybook.com.au, joining us all the way from Canada. Daddsy, great to have you back on the line. How you doing?
Lovely to be with you, Alice. What's news from Australia? Run me through it. What's been going on in the sporting landscape over there?
Well, we've had a week off, as you know, in the AFL, and other than that, it's been a pretty quiet time. We've had a bit of rugby playing out around the traps, Daddsy, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this segment. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet, but I would dare say or speculate that that is not the case over in your neck of the woods right now.
Yeah, it's all happening over here, Alice. We're about less than 2 weeks away from NFL starting. So that's very, very exciting over here. The ice hockey's going to pick up again soon in late October, early November. There's soccer on. It's all going very, very well. There was a big golf tournament today, which I'm sure, given how much you love golf, I'm sure you're keeping track of that. But Rory McIlroy won the Tour Championship worth a lazy $18 million he won today. So it's going very well over here, Alice. And of course, the US Open tennis, which starts tomorrow with Kyrgios Kokonakis playing against each other tomorrow night in North American time. So that's very exciting too.
Tell you what, I love it, whether it's out on the schoolyard in middle school or on the radio airwaves. Loves a little pot shot when he can get one in. I don't mind my golf, Daddsy. Look, we're going to talk all about the NFL later on in the segment as well. There is plenty happening, as you say. We'll jump right into it, and things don't get much weirder than this, Daddsy. An NFL star has been shot multiple times in what was an attempted robbery, or at least as what has been reported as such. So please tell us what's going on here.
Yeah, this is just wild. This is something that would probably be, front page in all the newspapers in Australia if it happened to an AFL player. But yeah, strangely in North America, I mean, it's news, don't get me wrong, but it's not sort of, it's not as big as you would sort of expect. So yeah, this rookie running back for Washington Commanders, his name's Brian Robinson. He was drafted in the third round last year, which means he's very good. That's high for a running back to be picked in the NFL draft. He's 23 years old. He was an absolute star at Alabama, which is the biggest college going around. He rushed for 1,300 yards and 16 touchdowns last year. So he's one of the best young running backs in the game, which is a very big deal. And yeah, apparently he was shot multiple times in an attempted carjacking in Washington, which it's kind of mind blowing. I mean, can you imagine what would happen if that was similar in Australia, Alice? It would just be huge. We wouldn't stop hearing about it for months.
You're completely right, and it just goes to show where the two nations are at, I guess, in their respective sort of cultural landscapes at the moment. Eddie Dadds, we'll take a look whilst we're on the subject of NFL at the pre-season. So just give us the lowdown on the winners and losers from week 3 of pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot been going on, Alice. We saw there was a bit of a New York showdown with the Giants and the Jets. The Jets got things done. They're an interesting little team this year, the Jets. They've got Joe Flacco, who's the former Super Bowl winner. He's probably going to be starting the season for them in the place of Zach Wilson, who's been injured. The Dolphins absolutely smashed the Eagles, which is good. I'm excited to see how the Dolphins go this year. I'm a big Tua Tagovailoa fan. He's their quarterback. It's going to be great to see how he goes this year. It's a crucial year for him. The Colts beat the Buccaneers, who are they're getting a little bit shaky, Alice. There's a bit going on. I'm not entirely sure. I know we sort of laughed last week about Tom Brady potentially being on the Masked Singer. But I'm starting to get a bit worried that it might be something more than that. We might miss him for a couple of weeks in the season as well. So, yeah, interesting storylines everywhere. I can't wait for it to kick off.
We'll stay in North America for a moment, Daddsy, and a question without notice, but just very briefly, if you can you tie up some loose ends with regards to how the ice hockey season is looming? Because I really want to find out more about this code with you over the next few weeks. It's not for the faint-hearted. Just give us the lowdown in a very short space of time, if you can, about ice hockey, what it's like, and who might win it this year in the NHL.
It's going to be fantastic, Ellis. I'm so excited to be in Canada and in North America for NHL. It's one of the great live spectacles I've seen as a sport. I saw a game live in Las Vegas a couple of years ago, their brand new team, the Golden Knights, and it was amazing. I enjoyed it more than the NBA and the NFL as a live sport, which for me is saying something because I'm very passionate about those two sports. This year's season kicks off on October 11th. We're going to have back-to-back double headers to start the game with the New York Rangers hosting the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then the Stanley Cup winners, the Colorado Avalanche, are going to get things underway against the Blackhawks as well. So it was an Avalanche Tampa Bay Lightning Stanley Cup series last year. So I think those teams are going to be the ones to beat again. very happy with the Colorado win. I'm a Denver Broncos fan in the NFL, so got a bit of a soft spot for the Avalanche. And yeah, can't wait. I'm sure I'll have some more updates for you over the coming months.
Cannot wait. We'll head across the Atlantic momentarily, Eddie Dads, and we'll talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, who's obviously one of the poster boys of the world game, has been for so many years, but his currency might be lessening at the moment, Dadsy. So we know he's on this astronomical wage at Manchester United. I think it's something in the realm of £420,000 a week, which is almost unmatchable with most other clubs around the world. He's 37 years old, too. Questions about the level of energy he actually brings to a team that wants to sort of press high on the pitch and things like that. He hasn't been playing for Manchester United in the last few weeks. Erik ten Hag, the new coach, they're opting to rest him and go with other options. And there's conspiracies abound in the Manchester United world, with a lot of fans starting to speculate that perhaps Cristiano Ronaldo is now angling so hard for a move away from Manchester United that he's starting to creep up in an unsolicited way in pre-match media coverage. The team of analysts on the pitch, Ronaldo's just coming up with, in a completely unprovoked way and just getting himself in front of the cameras as much as he can because he's not playing. So therefore, the theory is he's trying to make himself as relevant as he can be to force a move out of Manchester United. What do you make of this?
It's an interesting one, Alex, because normally when you have these sort of off-script interactions between players and media members, it's usually quite fun and enjoyable. And I thought it kind of was last week when Ronaldo did it. But him doing it again this week, basically the same thing. Like you said, just basically gate crashing the on-pitch commentary from before the game. Kind of inserting himself into it a little bit, having a little interaction with some of the people, including Rio Ferdinand. It's a strange one. I think there's definitely some truth to the idea that he kind of wants to keep himself front of mind. He doesn't want to, doesn't want to fall off the face of the map. He's one of the most famous people in the world. I'm sure it must be hard for him to experience this downturn in his form. What do you make of it? Is he going to get back on the pitch for United? He kind of reminded me, I know this is a bit unfair, but he reminds me a little bit of Russell Westbrook in that he's kind of hard to find a role for. You need him to be on the perfect team in the perfect environment, especially at this stage of his career.
Yeah, I would dare say, Daddsy, that unless you put Ronaldo up front for Manchester City at the moment where he's going to have service from here, there and everywhere, it is pretty hard to accommodate his needs. And what I do find extraordinary about this is, in my view, the level of accuracy. I think this is bang on because his wage is so high. So the Chiefs at Manchester United, where there's already talk that Ronaldo's pretty unmanageable and he very much likes to be the centre of the scene, they're going to be seeing this and they're going to think to themselves, well, we may as well cut our losses and perhaps figure out a way to loan him out, pay half his wage still, and therefore get a club that'll pay the other half and get him off the books. I think this could well happen because, unfortunately, for a 37-year-old that wants £400,000 a week, you're not giving yourself many options in the transfer market, Daddsy.
No, it's hard to watch. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do with him because they're definitely not going to get a return on their investment, that's for sure.
Most definitely. Let's take a look at Rugby Sevens, the World Series Sevens. Now, this was held in LA and I saw something about this pop up recently on social media and I thought, why on earth are they hosting a rugby tournament in LA? But I guess America's the land of experimentation. But nevertheless, we had this fantastic achievement by Australia, our national team, Daddsy, in the World Series Sevens, taking out the competition after the actual program for Rugby Sevens in Australia was torn up.
This was amazing, Alice, because we were quite average at Rugby Sevens for the last few years. I mean, when I say average, I mean we're still up there with the best in the world. But yeah, like you say, we haven't ever won one of these World Series Sevens tournaments, and we got it done this year, which is extremely exciting. I'm a massive fan of Sevens. I think it's great when you see sort of innovations like this in sports, and I know obviously cricket's done it with T20. And rugby's done it with the Rugby Sevens, which we'd love to hear. I want to give a shout out to one of the guys from the team who I know as well, Sam Myers, who's from little country town in Grenfell in New South Wales. So he's done incredibly well to get there. He was the captain of the team for the last 2 years too. But yeah, it's just great to see. I think this is going to be, and we obviously saw the Wallabies with a clutch win over the Springboks in Adelaide, Alice. Did you happen to make it to the game?
Oh, I didn't quite make it to the game, but we're very much across that. We plugged the event here on Flow and we had some players come on the air too. But we'll stay on rugby, Daddsy, not quite the Sevens format. The NRL, it's going into its 25th week. The AFL took a break, obviously, on the weekend, which agitated a lot of footy fans, but nevertheless, nevertheless, plenty of talk on scplaybook.com.au. What is the latest?
Yeah, it's been fantastic, Alice. I mean, yeah, we're moving into the final series. It's great. The Rugby League is into the last week of the season. The AFL is obviously, they've had their last week of the season. It's going to be a really interesting race for the flag. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't know who to pick. I mean, the logical choice is Geelong, given how well they've been playing lately, but something about them I just don't quite trust yet. I know, Richmond coming from outside the 8, could they do it again? Melbourne, can they go back to back? There's a lot of storylines. Who are you backing to win the flag from here?
I feel there's a bit of magic at Magpies Land, Daddsy.
Oh, interesting. I really like that. The team of destiny, hey?
We will wait with bated breath to see how it all goes. But Eddie Dads from scplaybook.com.au, always great to have a yarn with you. And thanks for joining us again. We'll speak to you next week. Enjoy all the sport.
Thanks, Ellis. Appreciate it. Speak to you soon.